Hello, St. Lucie County. I'm Philip Levine, the former mayor of Miami Beach, and I'm running for governor of Florida. My background's a little different. I grew up in South Florida, went to public school my whole life, and I'm the son of a single mom, and someone that worked every job you could possibly imagine, from washing cars to parking cars. You name it, I did it. After graduating from college, my journey was a little different. I went to work on a cruise ship, and after working on a cruise ship with $500 and a pocket full of dreams, I created a little company that grew. Fortunate enough to sell it, I lived the American dream. And I decided to help my community, and I ran for mayor of Miami Beach successfully. And we got a lot done. We fought back sea level rise and climate change. We actually raised the minimum living wage, even though the governor stopped us in court. We did a lot of things, from having the highest LGBTQ scores you could possibly imagine. Then I decided after a second term, I'm going to run for governor. I didn't like the condition or the direction of our state. Tallahassee wasn't listening to people. And you see it right here in St. Lucie County. Well, they're not listening to you as it comes to this Brightline train. They ignored what Thomas Jefferson said, which is government works best that's closest to its people. And if I'm honored to be elected governor of Florida, I'll be listening to you, especially when it comes to local issues like the Brightline train, which was handled, unfortunately, without listening to the people of St. Lucie County. I'm pro-economic opportunity, and I'm pro-people. And I believe the only way that we can make sure that everyone has great opportunity is if we level the playing field for all Floridians, making sure everyone has health care, pay our teachers a competitive salary, making sure that our environmental policies are sound. And we see that in Lake Okeechobee, where this governor has ignored many years of these unfortunate green algae bloom, which is affecting way too many communities. I ask you today for your vote. I'm Philip Levine. I'm running for governor of Florida. Thank you. We have 1.6 million Floridians that unfortunately do not have health care because the governor today, he literally ignored and turned his back on Floridians by not accepting Medicaid expansion. If I'm honored to be governor, we will not only accept Medicaid expansion funding, we're going to demand more, because I will not rest until all Floridians have health care. We don't want to go backwards. We can't make the emergency rooms a health care again. We need to make sure that Florida provides it. Listen to this. We're all on Team Florida. If we want to build a 21st century economy, we can only do it with everyone having their needs, their basic needs met, from healthcare to education, public transportation. So I'll accept and make sure that we expand Medicaid and work with doctors and hospitals and patients to come up with new innovative ideas. As a former mayor of Miami Beach, I had to deal with the Kremlin. Oh, I mean Tallahassee. Unfortunately, what they think somehow is that they know best in Tallahassee. I've run into it constantly. If I'm honored to be governor, once I said before, we will make sure that the people on the local level make their decisions. Give the power back to the mayors and the commissioners and the council people. Everything from gun safety regulation to deciding whether you would like to have Airbnb or not. It's a local decision. Making sure that beaches are not privatized, that they're available for everybody. Unfortunately, we've seen the folks in Tallahassee, they're receiving money from special interests, and they like to make all the rules. As a mayor, I understand how important it is for local elected leaders who know their communities and know their people best to make the local decisions on the ground. It works in the private sector, it's always worked in the public sector. I'm committed to that. One of the first things I'm going to do, if I'm honored to be governor, is I'm going to have the first Chief Environmental Resiliency Officer based in Tallahassee. We're also going to have regional environmental resiliency officers. We have many environmental issues. As a former mayor of Miami Beach, I was the first one to fight back for sea level rise and climate change, and we did a very effective job. The one thing we won't do is nothing. I can tell you when it comes to Lake Okeechobee, this has been way too many years. We need to make sure that water flows southward, like it was always doing through history. Make sure that the reservoirs that we have already approved are in place so that we're not having the water go out and we're not allowing this algae blooms to affect and destroy people's lives and their livelihoods. As for regarding offshore drilling, we've already run some tremendous commercials stating our opinion that we are against offshore drilling. This is like going backwards. We want to be the sunshine state. We're not the partly cloudy state. We need to focus on solar energy, not on fossil fuels. That's yesterday's news. If I'm honored to be governor, we will make sure that our state follows the Paris Climate Change Accords on a voluntary basis. And I'd be honored to do so, as I was honored to receive the Officer in the Legion of Honor from the President of France for our climate change work. As the former mayor of Miami Beach, I not only opposed it, we passed a ban against assault rifles. Unfortunately, we were preempted by the governor and Tallahassee. After this horrible tragedy in Broward County at Marjory Stoneman Douglas, I led a rally to tally, over 25 buses filled with students and teachers. We descended on those steps of Capitol, telling them that they must A, ban assault rifles, B, we need background checks, C, we need to make sure folks with mental health issues can't buy guns in Florida, and we also need to make sure that we close this gun show loophole. Listen, I'm not against the Second Amendment. I'm a gun owner. I actually have a concealed weapons permit. But we need to make sure that our schools are safe, our state is safe. Because not only is it the right thing to do, but for us to become a 21st century economy, no one wants to come to Florida economically if we have the weakest gun safety laws. We need the safest gun safety laws in Florida. I would be honored to have your vote as governor of the state of Florida. Politics is an interesting profession. It's interesting. We have folks that run for office and they tell you everything they're going to do. But the one question they never ask is, well, what have you actually done? I'm somebody that started with $500 and built a company and lived the American dream. And I'm running for governor to level the playing field. As the mayor of Miami Beach, we didn't talk about raising the minimum living wage. We passed an ordinance to do it. We didn't talk about LGBTQ rights. We had the historic perfect score for every year I was mayor. We didn't just talk about climate change and sea level rise. We actually became the poster child for a city that's fighting back, and that's what we did. As far as police reform, we inherited a police department where the tail was wagging the dog. We reformed our police department and put cameras on our police before Ferguson. We built green bike paths, one of the largest new parks. We've done these things. If I'm honored to be governor of Florida, you will have a governor that will get things done for the people of Florida, who will listen to the people of Florida. I'm not right, I'm not left, I'm forward. I'm honored to be running as a Democrat, but before I'm a Democrat, I'm an American, and I don't believe anyone has a monopoly on good ideas. I'd be honored to have your vote so I can lead Florida into a true 21st century economy.